Thousands of commuters rush down the pavement of America's largest cities every single day. Above ground, there is a constant, deafening rhythm of horns, heavy tires, and hurried footsteps. But most of the people walking those sidewalks have absolutely no idea they are stepping directly over hollow voids, sleeping quietly in the dark. Just inches beneath that loud, sunny surface, the bustling modern world drops away into pitch black, entirely silent catacombs. When urban explorers slip past the surface barricades, they don't find empty sewer pipes. They step onto the decaying remnants of massive underground transit palaces, complete with towering arched pillars and wide platforms covered in decades of dust. Local governments, embarrassed by these massive financial failures, have spent decades hiding them from the public. They lock the entrance kiosks and drag heavy concrete slabs over the crumbling stairwells to seal the ruins off permanently. How did American cities go from spending millions of dollars on utopian transit wonders to quietly boarding them up in the dark? In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, American cities expanded at a violent speed. Surface streets were suffocating under a chaotic mix of horses, early cable cars, and massive crowds of new residents. To relieve the pressure, city planners proposed a terrifying solution. They would carve high-speed passenger railways deep beneath the ancient layers of clay and bedrock. Cities like Boston, Philadelphia, and New York ripped open their busiest blocks, bringing heavy cranes to tear through the earth next to active businesses. Despite this machinery, thousands of workers stood in these deep trenches, carving cavernous paths through bedrock using hand shovels. This open-cut method of construction was invasive. Trenches were carved aggressively alongside existing residential brick buildings, physically splitting neighborhoods wide open to make way for the concrete transit lines. Cities were not content with pouring functional concrete tubes. They wanted to build underground monuments. When New York opened its City Hall station in 1904, it featured elegant Guastavino arches, brass chandeliers, and leaded glass skylights that filtered daylight directly down onto the platforms. Celebrated by millions of daily passengers, these subterranean spaces stood as tangible proof that America was leading the world into a clean, high-speed future of urban design. By the mid-20th century, a massive demographic shift hit American transit. The mass production of the automobile arrived, and millions of residents began migrating out of the urban cores. Instead of living in dense, vertical city environments built around train routes, populations were now sprawling out into uniform, car-dependent residential suburbs. This chart shows the fatal intersection that hit city budgets. As suburban migration caused transit ridership to plummet, the fixed cost of maintaining massive subterranean networks continued to rise, throwing public transit into a crushing deficit. In Cincinnati, leaders issued millions of dollars in bonds for an ambitious rapid transit loop, but the onset of the Great Depression and intense post-war inflation drained those funds entirely. The city was left with miles of completed tunnels where tracks were never even laid, creating dark voids that would never see a single train. Even operational stations were vulnerable. New York's beautiful City Hall station was shut down permanently. Its ornate, curved platform was simply too short to safely accommodate the longer, modern trains the growing city required. The engineering was perfectly sound, but shifting demographics and financial starvation paralyzed these transit empires. When municipal budgets collapse and human maintenance halts, a subterranean environment changes very quickly. Without active pumps and continuous repair, groundwater begins seeping through the street-level pavement directly into the tunnels, causing slow, constant erosion. The intricate vaulted ceilings and fragile white masonry that early planners were so proud of proved completely defenseless against this unchecked moisture. Over decades, this creates an eerie wilderness. In abandoned places like Rochester's old subway, water pools into dark, stagnant rivers along the old track beds, and thick calcium deposits build up to form glittering flowstones that mask the cracked brick walls. The only remaining human elements are thick layers of black soot, colorful graffiti from trespassers, and the secret, temporary shelters built by the homeless in the dark, shadowed alcoves near the tracks. The absolute rhythmic silence of water dripping into stagnant puddles has entirely replaced the deafening roar of steel wheels and passenger optimism that planners had promised. Today, these ghost stations sleep quietly beneath the pavement. They are memorials to fragile civic ambition, proving that without constant effort, nature will silently erase our grandest attempts at permanence.